Hi everyone. We talked about how to create Power Query in previous video and loaded working capital related data and mapping table to Excel. In this video, you will learn how to use Power Pivot to create relationships and calculations based on the data loaded.
How to use Power Pivot. This is a continuous session from the previous one, how to use Power Query. We created a Excel. Excel is using the data loaded through Power Query. Now I opened this Excel. Go to the Power Pivot. Click Manage. Choose the diagram view. There are altogether 5 tables. The primary one is the fact data table, and the rest is the mapping table. What we're going to do is to build a relationship between the mapping tables and the fact table. Let's examine the data fact table. We have entity, business unit, time, account, and value. We're using the net working capital management as real case example. So account is the balance sheet account for net working capital. Then we need to create relationship between this account. Just click and drag. Between the account in the fact data table and the mapping table. So based on the mapping table, we're able to build the net working capital account hierarchy. The second mapping table is business unit. So in the fact data table, there is the base level business unit. Then based on this BU mapping table, we're able to build the hierarchy or the structure for business unit. Moving on, entity. Click entity from the fact data table and drag it to the entity in the mapping table. Good. Let's recap. There is one data fact table and 4 other mapping table. We created the relationships between the data fact table and the mapping table. Once it's done, let's close the Power Pivot view. This leads us back to the Excel. How to create a pivot table from the data model. Go to Insert, click Pivot Table, then from Data Model. This would open a view very similar to the normal cell pivot. The only difference is the source is the data model embedded in Excel. In this data model, there is the data fact table, which is the consolidated single data table loaded and transformed by Power Query. The other 4 mapping tables are also loaded by Power Query. And in Power Pivot, we create relationships between the fact table and the mapping table. Now move on, we can create a report based on that. If we go to the time dimension, I have year and I have quarter. Then there's also month. We have now the time in the column. So the BU, what has been loaded is the input level, and then we create the structure to the upper level. So you can see in this fictional company, there are 3 units: machine, service, and other miscellaneous. From the entity, let's take a look. I will put now we have the area. The area is a different continent plus the global units like IT, supply chain, R&D, and support functions. In the fact table, there are different accounts. Now let me put account also in the filter field. So the account is just a code. It's not very readable. It doesn't matter because we already have a mapping table. So I will choose account and the name. That will tell us more. I also put it first to the header. There we have the different balance sheet accounts that are more than net working capital. How to get net working capital alone? In the mapping table, we already built it one area. Based on the net working capital 1 field, we could first filter the account that belong to net working capital alone. Total working capital, other operative working capital, net working capital, manageable working capital. Level in this table is used to define the account level and structure. So input is the base level data. By following the account structure and calculation logic, we could sum up the input level to the total net working capital. I will only choose the input level here, input level. Let's see, I will move the area. We will take from the account mapping table. First, account name tool. That would give us the category between total current assets, total current liability, and there is also total long-term liabilities. Normally, there's no long-term liability in net working capital. In this case, let's drill down to see what are there. Let's go through again. Under total current assets, there are first inventory related. The inventory includes the raw material, work in progress, and good in transit. Then if there's any advances paid already for inventories, it is also under the current assets. Moving on, account receivables. Then the receivables. There's some receivables. Then if there are invoices that should be sent but not sent yet, it is the unbilled contract revenue. Provisions is the contra asset account. That's why it's also under current assets. These provisions for unbilled revenue and provisions for doubtful accounts. That is a contra asset account. The value will be deducted from the receivable. VAT receivables. There are a few deferred assets that are the cost paid already, but shouldn't be recognized as cost yet. There's a deferred assets. If the company has pension, this pension surplus is under the total current assets. Moving on, total current liabilities. There are advances received or deferred revenue, account payables, VAT payables, the different type of cost accruals, and provision. In the end, the pension liabilities is in the total long-term liabilities. But that is the account structure for net working capital. That includes primarily total current assets and the total current liability. The difference between the total current assets and total current liability is the net working capital. Well, the account structure now is clear. When we do the net working capital analysis, it will be easier to read if we group the input level account into different categories. It is grouped already based on the company's real situation. That would give us this NWC2, NWC3. I count to the see again. Because in this company, there's very small cost deferrals. So we grouped the cost accrual and the deferral together to show the net amount. Now the current assets, current liability is clear. I will this. Now let's follow the structure like this. And in this case, I would like to first see the manageable working capital, this MWC, and next see the other working capital, Y. How to do that? Of course, we could just drag and drop. But after each refresh, the sequence will be changed again. We created a index field already that will help us to sort the target field. How to sort that? Let's go back to the Power Pivot. Power Pivot and manage. That would lead us back to those tables. What we want to sort is the account. Then the field is NWC2. I choose this field. Then in the menu bar, click Sort by Column open. Choose Sort by Column. I would want to sort the NWC2 field by NWC2 index. Then this index should be the number field. Now I choose. The query is running. Now the field is sorted. How to change the data type? If this index field is not number field, select the column, go to again the toolbar in the middle, data type. It is already the whole number. If not, we can change from here. We just sorted the NWC2 field based on the NWC2 index field. Let's close. Choose the data source order. The order has changed. We have now the manageable working capital on top. Those are our primary focus. Then the other working capital at the bottom. We went through together the financial concept of net working capital management, where we described different net working capital elements, primarily inventory, receivables, and payables are three big areas in the net working capital management. More details you can choose in this playlist, the net working capital management. Just created the relationship in Power Pivot. Next session, we will go through together how to create the calculations in Power Pivot.
Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. I'm Jennifer, business analytic expert who love BI tool.